Hello, so hopefully you can hear me because obviously I've got a mask on. After a little bit of the stream, I'll take that off as usual because it's much easier for people to understand you with it off, and I can put my glasses on to see the chat better. But this is the only thing at the moment people want to talk about, and it fits right into the theme of gas masks and militaria. So I've got a live map here. If you look in the description, one of the top links in there is one of those updating maps that's pretty good. They've made the interface much better on it now, so it takes up the screen properly rather than having all the info just off to one side. Don't forget to like the stream as you come on, because it seems to help YouTube share the videos. But at the moment, they're really kind of sharing my videos again, which is nice, because I've got 104,000 views over 2 days. So you can always get a gas mask over, or like a dust mask or something. There's a virus in Denmark. Let's have a look at this map. Germany and France are the only ones that are showing up in Europe at the moment on the interactive map. 4,610 cases reported in mainland China, 14 in Thailand, 8 in Hong Kong, 8 in Taiwan, 7 in Japan, 7 in Macau, wherever that is, 7 in Singapore, 5 in Australia, 5 in the USA, 4 in Malaysia, 4 in South Korea, 3 in France, 2 in Canada, 2 in Vietnam, 1 in Cambodia, 1 in Germany, 1 in Nepal, and 1 in Sri Lanka is the current figures on there, but it's probably higher than that. That's just the reported ones. Yeah, well, they were saying on the news today that they think it's definitely going to get to the UK. It's just a case of how long does it take to get here and how prepared are we for it. I'm going to take the mask off in a minute, as I said. If you look in the description, anyone asking about gas masks, there's a link to quite a few cheapish ones that are okay in there. So I'll take that off now. Oh, it's good it's not messing my hair up too much, but as I said, I need to get around to shaving my hair off probably tomorrow or something anyway. That's a Finnish M71. Sadly, they're not very common on the surplus market at the moment. But yeah, when I got this, it was like £30, £35. Now a lot of them are like nearly £100. One thing to note is, as you'd expect, the prices a lot of retailers are selling masks at has shot up because they're doing the typical thing of, literally massively putting the prices up because there's much more of a demand for it now, which is always the thing I've said, if you want to get a mask, make sure you get it when there's not an emergency on, because as soon as there is an emergency with any of these kind of things, the prices of everything goes up. You'd have to look on the German news if it says whereabouts in Germany it is, but it is in Germany. Apparently, there's one reported case in Germany. There's Israeli M15s on eBay. You can find them on eBay. No, it's not contracted like Ebola, Preston. It's contracted via coughing and sneezing, so it's much easier to catch than Ebola. This one isn't made in China. It's Finnish M71. Finland's not China. It depends which mask it was insulted, but it's a good enough mask, and the P3 filter's fine, so yes. That's a good price, £35 for one in the Czech Republic. Problem is, you can't tell in chat if people are joking or not. But yeah, if you don't forget to like the stream. But yeah, 73 people on, 74 people on now. So if you like the stream, hopefully that will share it a bit more. But yeah, at the moment, this is all I'm really talking about on the channel because it's the only thing people want to talk to me about, and my views are exploding because of this. So yeah, I've got a classic style hazmat suit in that box there, and I've got lots of NBC suits. The hazmat suits are actually pretty impractical because they require somebody else to kind of zip you up into the suit and connect all the wires. Well, not wires, but like air pipes. No, if you mean a doctor's mask as in a surgical mask, are not really good enough. The problem is with surgical masks, they don't make an airtight seal to your face. Oh, thank you very much, Stug. But yeah, the issue obviously is with like doctor's masks. The job of them is to stop you coughing onto other people. So with a doctor's mask, it doesn't make an airtight seal to your face. What it is basically a waterproof material that's like on that bit of the mask, and then air comes in around the side. The problem is that doesn't filter anything. As said, the point of a doctor's mask is if you're coughing or sneezing, your spittle doesn't fly on other people. So if everybody was wearing doctor's masks, like surgical masks, yes, it would slow down the rates of infection because it's harder to sneeze on people. But they're not as good as actual proper masks. Scott M98 Walker, that's a very good mask. Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind repeating it because it's info that's worth repeating in the sense that people need to take it on board. As I was saying, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because at the moment it says there's nearly 100 people on about 40 likes. So ideally, if we can get the likes to the same amount of people as viewing, that would be good for YouTube sharing videos. The problem is full hazmat suits is it's totally impractical because that's people are saying to me, couldn't you wear a full hazmat suit? Well, in theory you could, and it would give you a very good level of protection. The issue is you don't need all that level of protection. You'll find a hazmat suit gets very heavy and bulky. What brand is nanomasks? I'll have to look them up because off the top of my head, I don't know. Thank you again, the person who donated the other day and donated again with the underscores for the username, so I don't know what their username is. Underscore, is it? But, yeah. Favorite civilian issue gas masks? They weren't issued in big numbers, but the Fushida A4 is very good. The Swedish one. Israeli 4A1s are very good as well. Thank you very much, Marcus. I appreciate that. Thank you again, Stug. I appreciate that. I was saying at the moment, it's been really good for like all the YouTube stuff because it's kind of, like I said, it's funny with YouTube in the kind of sad way that you can make gas mask videos for ages. They only share them a certain amount, and then they all of a sudden want to share your videos non-stop because there's a reason people are looking up gas masks. Yeah, I said in the chat, Mike, but don't worry. I'll still be on for definitely over an hour. Well, thank you very much, Swandy, if I'm pronouncing your name right. No, I don't think Corona would have enough alcohol percent because it's like beer, isn't it? From what I was reading, I think people are saying you need at least 60% ABV alcohol to destroy it, which is why a lot of like isopil alcohols, whatever they call it, rubbing alcohols, like 70%. The video I'm going to film tomorrow, if I get time, because we have a plumber coming around tomorrow to change a radiator. But if I get time after he's gone, I want to film a video showing how you would, because a few people have requested this, if you went out and about, how you would decontaminate when you get in. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm sure people complain as usual, you're not a doctor, so why are you making this video? It's just showing that, you know, if you got in, how you would sanitize your hands and that and take your outside level of clothes off before going into the house. Because that's the problem is obviously if you've been outside, even if you have all the protective gear, you get germs on you, and then you come into your house and don't really do anything sanitary first. You're going to potentially just have germs on your hands and then, you know, get them on your face that way. Weirdly, I've got some acetone down there, but I use the acetone for stripping radium off of old dials. Thank you as well, Preston. At the moment, yes, it only seems like a mask. Obviously, as we were saying, you need to follow decontamination rules, which I need to do a video on tomorrow. But yeah, you know, putting old dials in acetone to get the radium off as a powder. Yeah, that's not related to the stream. But yeah, at the moment, if all they're saying is true and it doesn't mutate, as long as you had a mask, you know, so your face is protected, eyes and respiratory system, it's not going to get in. But again, bear in mind, you need to decontaminate. Plague doctors, sadly, didn't have masks that protected them because they didn't understand germs at that point in history. They believed in the miasma theory, which is bad smells cause disease, not bacteria, viruses, all that sort of stuff. Basic hygiene would reduce it a lot because if you're washing your hands constantly, I don't mean like OCD washing your hands, and I don't mean to make that like a joke aimed at people with OCD because I know it's a proper mental condition, but as in, if you say have either like sanitizer gel or sinks, you can at least do stuff like this, you know, spray it on your hands, do that. And from what I was watching videos with doctors, yes, you can, Stug. Can you post your Discord ID? Same for anybody else that donates. Yeah, they would work absolutely fine, Marcus. You just need to make sure it makes a good face seal, because obviously the issue is with dust-style masks. If they don't sit tight to your face, they're useless. But yeah, let me open up Discord. And anybody that donates, of course, can have a Discord invite. But the way these streams have been going recently is kind of crazy to try and keep up with them. So in a second, post your Discord ID. I can add you to my friends list and then invite you to the community server. So yeah, Stug, I'll watch the chat for when you do it. I just find it really interesting, Breck. So read lots of history books, read lots of old sort of, survival manuals. Even the kind of very basic ones like this, Protect and Survive, designed for nuclear war, but a lot of the stuff in here is quite useful. Also, Stug and anybody else that's donated, if you post a Discord ID and I miss it, just keep posting it back in the chat, because obviously there's a chance that the chat, if it moves too fast. I won't catch them. What you could do, gamer, if they get really shitty about masks, is just get a good dust mask. Because if you have a dust mask that makes a good facial seal, the only people getting invites are the people that donate, not random people that just post their IDs. But what I'll do, Stug, is I'll add you. It says, didn't work. Let me see if the spaces and all that are correct. Because I know Discord, there we go, it's worked now. I had to take the space out. Can do, Marcus. The only thing is with repairing masks, it depends what sort of repairs it is. If it's little holes in the mask, I can do that. Let me now invite you to the server, Stug. I don't want to break any masks on purpose to then do a repair tutorial, because that's kind of defeating the point. If it's replacing valves and things like that, then it gets quite a bit harder, because it actually requires you to have the stuff. Do you have a Discord, Swandy? Because if you do, I will... If you do, I can invite you on that as well. But thank you very much for your donations. What might be a good idea, I'm going to have to see if you can get them on eBay, is a multi-pack of umbrella valves. Because umbrella valves are what a lot of modern gas masks use. I'm trying to see if I've got a mask anywhere handy I can actually show you the valve assembly. But literally all modern masks tend to just use umbrella valves. And those are kind of the things I want to see if you can get a multi-pack of, just for replacement purposes. Because obviously the issue is lots of different masks have different sizes. I do have a GP5 repair kit somewhere, well, just a generic Soviet mask repair kit with loads and loads of spare Soviet parts, so that's useful. But yeah, this is an umbrella valve. They're very simple. All they are is literally that, and basically it's a one-way valve. So on the exhale it goes that way, air can push it open, but it's snapped closed that way. Intake valves just work the other way around. Intake valves aren't really necessary though, because they're always behind the filter in the first place. That's good, getting a free S10 because of the virus. I reinstalled Plague Inc. yesterday, weirdly, just because of all this Corona stuff. I thought it'd be interesting to, do it. Something, right? What's your username? Is it the exact same thing? Swandy. The chat's moving too fast. Hang on a second. Let me try it as you've put it there and see if it works. If not, repost your name. Didn't work. Let me try without that thing. No, you have to post your name again in the thing. Oh, it's Evil Slayer X and then your number. Okay, let me try that. Just a second. I'll go back to the chat in a second. Didn't work again. Let me try a space there. Didn't work. I probably have to get the capitals exactly right. Oh, is it capital X at the end? That's probably why. Bear with me a second, then I'll be back on the chat. Hashtag. Friends request failed again. Yeah, IBM Model M. That's probably got a lot of bacteria on it, though, this keyboard, just because of how old it is. What PC? Well, it's a custom-built one. It's not like a pre-built, but it's... the GPU in there at the moment, is it the 5700 XT, the AMD one? It was like a top-end AMD one when I bought it. It isn't as good as some of the top-end NVIDIA ones, but it's good enough for playing games at 1080p. But more importantly, the processor is the 3900X. Can you try, Swandy, posting your entire Discord name with the hashtag in the chat for me, just so I can try and copy and paste it in, because at the moment it doesn't like it. Most masks, Sean, did come with talcum powder originally in them, just as like a preservative. Supposedly it is already airborne, Christoph, in the sense that if people cough and sneeze near you, you can catch it quite easily. Yeah, assuming it's a modern CBRN filter E&D, yes, it is good enough. Right, let me try copying, pasting. I reckon you've got like a weird little X, have you? And that's the reason it won't let me do it. Right, let me copy and paste that in and then see if it works as you've done it there. No, it didn't work. Let me take the space out. But yeah, finally, there we go. You'll get a friend's request from me and then I'll instantly invite you to the server as soon as you do it. Thank you, Gabriel. If you've got a Discord ID, feel free to post it now as well. I'm going to try and keep up with the chat, because the problem is if everybody donates and keeps giving me Discord links, I won't be watching up with the chat. Also, problem is as well with a chat like this is if the chat's moving really fast and you make a long comment, it's hard for me to read them. Well, viruses never mutate into mustard gas, but if it did, just theoretically, you'd need one that wasn't silicon. You need it to be butyl rubber or something like that. So don't get USM40, get something like an Avon S10. Right, let me just invite you then to the server. There you go. And let me now add Gabriel. And then I'll go back to the chat. If people want to support me and they don't want to do it via Super Chat, they can do it via Patreon as well, or buy the merch. I'm going to have to get on Bart's case to get some more of the merch drawn at the moment, because a lot of people probably want that XM28 design, while, you know, there's actually people doing it. So let me just invite you to the server. There we go. Right. Have you already got an invite, Cheeky Breaky, or do you need one? For like the community Discord, yes. For things like the official gas mask Discord, no, that's nothing to do with me. I'm on it, but that's just like a community one. You have to pass an entrance test, though, where you have to answer enough questions correct. Yeah, Stug, it's crazy at the moment. Like the YouTube ad revenue's just done that, because all of a sudden, oh, let's refer people to your videos again. Right, let me add Rashid Computer Repair then. Just a second. It's an interesting name. And again, it's saying that's not correct. Is it a space thing? I don't know. No. Have you got a capital in the wrong place or something? Cheeky Breaky, that's the only thing I can think of, because I've copy and pasted it in exactly as it is and it's not working. FP5 filter, if it fits fine on the GP9 and makes a good proper seal, yes, that would be absolutely fine. Where would the brand be on it, Camper? ROM Carbon. Where would the actual branding mark be? For people don't know, I'm just trying to Cheers, Christoph. Do you have a Discord as well? If you do, I'll invite you if you want to be invited. No, dust masks, if it's a dust mask, the filter medium is like the paper the mask is made from. Right, let me try that again, Cheeky Breaky. What you need to do is get a like actual one, like, you know, the chat keeps moving when I'm trying to copy and paste your name. Right, let me try that again. No, it's still not liking it. I don't. Is it a capitals thing? Because I think Discord is really funny about capitals being in the right place. Probably about 150 at this point now. Although I've ordered some more again recently, just because it's practical. Let me tell you what I've ordered recently. I can go on eBay and tell you. I've bought hopefully an FMJ05 that will actually fit me. I've bought some NBC gloves. I've bought some more Geiger counters. I thought I bought some more gas masks, but maybe I didn't. So never mind. I thought I'd ordered more, but I sometimes forget. I think it's because I sometimes find masks for other people, give them the link, and then it's where I assume I've ordered it, and I haven't, obviously. But Thank you, Camper. That's good advice, because yeah, that's good advice to tell anybody whenever they're trying to give me Discord IDs. Don't forget to like the stream, everybody, if you've just come on, because it says there's 171 people on now and 114 likes. Please don't spam the chat. You'll get a timeout and then a block, just because, you know, it'd be good if we can actually chat about stuff. For the people who haven't seen it, if you want to see the map, it's in the description, but I'll just post a link there. That's quite a good up-to-date map on it. Although it's kind of, you'll see this go up massively in numbers whenever China releases the new figures, which are probably lower than they really are. Right, let me copy and paste that in now, cheeky breaky, and see if it works. It's exactly the same again, and it's saying it didn't work. Is there a space at the front or something? No. Let me take out all the spaces and just see if that makes a difference. Actually, let me take the hash out. No, not hash. Let me take all the spaces out. If not, try and get it to me on a comment on a regular video where I can keep replying to you if it doesn't work. Well, at the moment, we don't really know if it's going to be a serious threat or not. Part of the problem, obviously, is because China's kind of, although it's not as bad as the Soviet Union one, because, you know, China's like a closed-off kind of communist state in a sense. I know it's not really all that, because it's kind of a weird hybrid of communism and like capitalism and, you know, all that sort of stuff. They're probably not telling the truth about the numbers, because what a lot of people seem to think is they're very much doing the Chernobyl thing, you know, of like 3.6 Rontgen, it's all under control, you know, where it's probably a lot worse than they're saying, and they're giving people propaganda numbers. What a lot of people expect at the moment is that apparently where people are dying, lots of them are being put down to pneumonia or like flu or things like that to make their figures not look as bad. To be honest, I know a lot of other countries would do that, not just China. I don't want to make it sound like I'm just bashing on China, because I chat with some Chinese people on here and they're actually quite all right people. You know, it's always the governments that are dickheads, not the people that live there. But, you know, the point being that they're probably doing a very Soviet thing of giving out propaganda numbers. If it's just a particulate filter, Jadis or Jadis, it won't expire in any sort of period at all. They last like 10, 20 years if you're not constantly breathing through them. Pneumonia, apparently, Nathan. Obviously, it's caused by the virus, but it's, you know, like damage to the lungs and all stuff like that. You might as well bring your gas mask to school, indeed. Don't necessarily wear it all the time, but there's no harm having it in a satchel. 3M6000s with P3 filters would be absolutely fine. Old Soviet masks would work if they're in good enough condition and the valves are all working and you put a modern enough filter on it. The problem is with GP5 filters, ignoring the whole they contain asbestos thing, I don't actually know how good the particulate filter was in them even when they were new. That's interesting, Daniel. But yeah, it's obviously where it has a couple of different effects on the body. I'd say go for a size 3 or 4 S10 then VREX. The S10 size 1 is the biggest, size 4 is the smallest. Not as far as I know, PA3. In theory, bigger P3 filters might be more effective in the sense that there's more filter medium. But because the problem is if you went higher than P3, you wouldn't really be able to breathe. That's why you can't have 100%, you know, efficient particle filter. It has to be like 99.7% or whatever the P3 style one is. Because if you made it 100%, it would basically have no holes in it and you couldn't breathe. And I'm sure in theory they could make filters that are like 99.9%, but then the breathing resistance would probably be so high, you know, it wouldn't be worth using them. I imagine they could, Iron Man. I know what I found before I used to take multivitamin supplements, you know, I used to get colds and stuff a lot more. And since taking multivitamins every day for the last few years, I've had a lot less colds than I used to have. That could just be pure coincidence. Obviously, good nutrition helps the body a lot with a lot of things. The MSA Hour 3S is 40mm, isn't it? So you would want a 40mm NATO filter for that. So get the Scott RD40 filters, the ones I've been putting links to quite a lot. Do people want to see a rebreather? I'll put a rebreather on if people want to see one. I'm not going to obviously plug it into the canister and all that, but I have got a rebreather I can grab, and it's got a voice diaphragm on it. I think America uses S, M, and L, or maybe even XL on the masks, and like small, medium, large, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, here's the good old IP4M. So yeah, mask in the bottom of it. There's the rebreather canister. Obviously, I'm not going to pull the pin and use that. Looks like the mods have a lot of work to do tonight, so apologies to them, but you know. Like I said, I'm not going to attach this to anything because otherwise, not a good idea. There's the big bladder inside. The IP4M is a really cool designed kit for, having a satchel for a land rebreather. Oops, that fell out the bag. But yeah, for the people wondering, the IP4 kit is literally just, everything's like in the kind of bag satchel setup. For those wondering, this is a rebreather, not a filter setup, so this uses a chemical reaction. I don't really want to use a really old thing like that, but if there was a really serious threat, I would use a rebreather, but I wouldn't risk my life or potential harm using an old rebreather. The only reason I used a rebreather recently in a video was what was I going to say? Because it was a brand new rebreather canister Piotr got for me, B-Store, because Poland still makes the old communist style rebreather canisters, just made to good modern standards. Anyway, let's get this mask on. So yeah, this is a pretty cool looking mask. It's a shame the Soviets never did one of these in standard 40mm, because it's actually, for a Soviet mask, it's got an oral nasal cup in it. It's got good quality eyepieces. It's got a voice diaphragm at the front. It's actually a pretty cool mask, but the Israeli M15, Nathan, would be absolutely fine, assuming that you put the proper filters on it. A2P3, Geotrooper. Let me take the mask off so you can hear me properly. A2 means organic vapor rating 2, so that's better than A1. P3 means particle rating 3. For Corona, you want particle rating 3. Yep, if they're Israeli Type 80 filters, David, they are very good filters. Basically, they work better than N95 masks, because N95 is only P1 rated. There's a P3 front section to the Israeli Type 80 filters, and I'm pretty sure they're either ABE or ABAC. No, Soviet children's masks would be far too small for me. Well, immunotherapy. You can make vaccines for the flu. The problem is with something like the flu is they can only make vaccine strains for certain strains of it. Like, so with the flu vaccine, if you get a shot for the flu, compared to like a vaccine for proper stuff, like smallpox and all those sort of things, is that the vaccines, they have to basically do it for a couple of different strains of the flu that they think is the most likely ones people will get that year. So the issue ends up being that, it's a gamble whether or not they get the right ones. I'm sure you'll be fine, time traveler, just don't carry on using it. If you got a little bit of shit in your lungs, I'm sure you'll recover, but don't keep risking it and using it more and more and more. Sadly, war videos, 60mm is an obsolete type of filter. Like the Finnish M61s and the Yugoslav masks used in the US M9A1 Canadian C3s. What you'll need to do is get a 60 to 40mm converter. You can generally find those on eBay pretty easily for like £5 to £10. And then what they do is they let you screw RD40, modern 40mm filters into the 60mm masks. So if you've got something like a Finnish M61, which is a very good 60mm mask, it's worth doing that, because there's no point, not using the mask if you, only had that mask, when for like a £5 you can get the thing that lets you put 40mm filters on it. I really don't know, Ian D. I was going to make a very inappropriate joke then, but I don't think I'm going to do it, just because it's not really right to make jokes like that. So, what I would do, A and I, late nights, is have some sort of decontamination wipes, like antiseptic wipes, and then before you take the mask off, I would wipe the mask down and, like, you know, all the housing of the filter before taking the mask and filter off, and then, you know, have a clean room set up. I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow if I get time, because it's one I've kind of meant to do for ages about nuclear fallout. But the idea is that basically, and I'll keep repeating this every now and again in the stream because it's important for people to hear this as they come in. Yeah, and don't forget to like the stream, everybody. Is that what you need to do is, let's say you're outside and you think you may have, you know, like pathogens or whatever on you. When you get in, you need to essentially strip off in, like, not necessarily completely naked, but you need to, you know, like strip off by your front door or whatever door you come into the house with, and then clean yourself before getting changed again and dressed, because otherwise you're just carrying, you know, germs into the house with you. Scuba mask as in a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, rolling rock, or scuba as in just a snorkel? Snorkel mask would be pretty damn inefficient. A scuba would work fine, but you'd need an air tank, wouldn't you? Right, Alex, there's a couple of options, sadly not very many good ones. If you want to wear your glasses under a mask, get something like an escape hood that ties up at the neck. I'm not a massive fan of escape hoods, and some of you will know why if you've seen a video. But if you have an escape hood that does up at the neck, your glasses will at least be on your face. Obviously, half-face masks are fine with glasses, even if they sit a bit weirdly on them. You can still see through them. The expensive option is if you get a mask you really like and is good quality, paying to have, you know, like optical inserts made for the mask. But I've not even bothered with that as much as I'm a fan of gas masks, because I've never seen places that would do it for a reasonable price. And, you know, I don't really want to be wearing a gas mask all the time anyway. I don't have a World War II Polish gas mask, 100% Krieger or Gregor. I've got quite a lot of Polish gas masks, but they're all from the Cold War and like modern Poland period, you know, like independent Poland. None from before the Cold War. Right, let me try that again, Cheeky Breeky, and see if it works. Doesn't look any different to me than the last time you gave me a name, but let's try it again. Oh, it worked that time. What was different about it then? Was it like one word with an extra E in it or something? The capital in a different place? I don't know, but I've sent you a friend's request. As soon as you accept it, I can invite you to the server. Just for people not talking in English, I don't have any problem with you, but as I can't understand you, please don't spam the chat with non-English stuff, just because I can't read and respond to it. As soon as Rashid accepts it, I can invite him to the server. There we go. If I can find you on my list now. Oh, I just need to go to all, don't I? Otherwise it will be, yeah, if you're offline, invite to server, weapons and stuff, 93. There you go, done. Right. Yeah, if you donate any amount, although I normally say it as like $1, €1, £1, whatever, but yeah, if you donate any amount, you can get a Discord invite. Just bear in mind it's a bit cumbersome to do it. When I got my Israeli M15 it was about, I think, £30 to £40 or dollars. A lot of the time they're more expensive than that, but if you shop around on eBay, it will depend on the condition, you know, the postage price, where it's coming from and all that. But yeah, probably aim for less than $50, but Israeli M15s are very good masks. Failing that, if you want an M15 style mask, go for the go for this one. The what's it called? Sorry, I just got a message that I need to respond to, but I have to wait till after the stream. But yeah, what was I going to say? The Romanian M85, if you can get one of these in a complete kit, they're actually very good and similar to the M15. Oh, Martin, if you want a Discord invite, post your ID, and I'll invite you. Yeah, P100 is the same as P3. It's just, it seems for some reason in America they call them P100. In most European countries they're called P3, and I think China calls them P3 as well. So I think it's just for some reason America decides they want to be different from everybody else. Like, you know, how they still use Fahrenheit. I love you Americans, really, but, you know, it is kind of funny how you still cling to the, you know, imperial system for a lot of things. Yeah, if your Polish MP5 is in good condition, it'd be absolutely fine, assuming you put a decent filter on it, but an FP5 filter is good enough. Age does affect the quality of the masks, Alexander, but as long as they've been stored properly, it's not going to be a big problem. Yeah, but the thing is, they're not actually 100%. That's why I don't like them calling them that, because it's fine for N95 and N97 or P97 and all that, but when they call it P100, really, it should be called P99, just because, you know, if it was actually P100, you'd suffocate, because it means there would be no holes in it. Because if it can filter 100% of particulates, it means that air can't travel through it. Is the problem with telling people about prices in dollars, right, is I'm in the UK. I can really only tell what the price for getting a mask would be in the UK. If I look online, I can see UK sellers selling masks with UK-based postage, and I can see international sellers that will ship to the UK and what they might charge. I can't see what masks might ship to the US and what they'd charge. I mean, I imagine I could use a proxy to go on US eBay and do that, but that's a lot of effort when you could, you know. Yeah, if in theory you got a filter like this or whatever and put it on a GP5, yeah, it'd be golden, assuming the GP5 is in good quality. But really, you can get much better masks than a GP5 for not very much money. You know, if you search around well enough. If you look in the description, if you see some of the masks that are in the description, and Mike, Weapon Collector, he'll be posting the links quite a lot in the sidebar. They're very good, like, you know, options to consider. Just if you're looking like what masks are available, maybe some of those will ship you. He's just posted it again. N95, as I've said a few times, I wouldn't recommend. N95 is certainly better than surgical masks. The problem is N95 basically just means it's a very basic dust mask. I'm not sure about Wish, Michael, but there's a mask on AliExpress which is very good. Let me link you, because I've got it behind me, actually. So if you look at this mask, assuming it's in stock still, that is this one. It's a rip-off of a 3M style mask. But it's a very good one in terms of quality for a basic mask. Right, Lorlex, the problem is I don't know what they'd say in terms of airport security and all that. I'm sure you could wear a dust mask on an aeroplane if you really wanted to, but the problem with aeroplanes is they're really easy for infection. Oh, sorry, my throat's going a bit. The problem is with aeroplanes, they're really easy for infections to spread, obviously, as you probably know, because the air's recycled all the time on the plane. That's why basically if one person on an aeroplane ever has a cold, you always seem to get it. So yeah, I imagine aeroplanes will become a really, if, you know, this gets big, this will become a big hotbed. You know, if one person on the plane has it, everybody on the plane is going to get it. Yeah, that should do, Joe. Sounds like at the moment, it's not like a really scary, you need an NBC suit with some sort of self-contained breathing apparatus system. It's basically at the moment advising people on basically good hygiene, which you should follow anyway, but a lot of people don't. You know, the amount of people that go to the toilet and don't wash their hands is a bit disgusting, especially if they're taking a shit or something. And a lot of it is just understanding how masks seal to your face properly, getting a good face fix. Obviously, if a mask's loose, it's no good. And understanding how filters work and don't work, because the problem is a lot of people seem to think if it's a mask on your face, therefore it's automatically good. Yeah, I'm not sure. It could just be the voice diaphragm being a bit off then. Person with a big long Dutch name, I'm afraid I can't pronounce. But it's a lot worse if I don't use a filter with it. If I use a small filter, it vibrates a bit. If I use a big filter, it doesn't really vibrate. Some of my other Soviet masks, like the GP5M over there, with that same voice diaphragm system, don't vibrate. So I think it just sometimes comes down to individual mask quality, components used, you know, and luck, and a load of other factors. Yeah, what Richard said is a good point. Different countries and even just different brands of masks use different sizing. So if you can find a sizing chart for a mask, it's a good thing to do. The GP9, I'm not a massive fan of, Michael. A mask that is good, similar to the GP9, is the Spaziani TR2002. Let me get an eBay link up to the Spaziani, because they are very good. It's the one I got Mike as a thing. If you watched his video today where he was in the shed, it was a mask he was wearing. But Spazianis are excellent gas masks. Oh, it looks like they've all sold out. Okay, never mind. Actually, I found another one in stock. Let me just link it. But yeah, a lot of them are selling out now. But yeah, the thing is, as I've said before, and other people say on any kind of thing like this, the issue is if you leave getting a gas mask or any kind of equipment to the point where something bad happens, generally they get very overpriced or they sell out. Apparently what's been happening a lot is people have been buying out loads and loads of stock of masks so they can resell them themselves for like gouged up prices, which is a pretty scummy thing to do. Because at the moment I could probably literally say, I'm going to sell masks in my collection £50 to £100 each, and I bet a lot of people pay that, but it's a shitty thing to do, isn't it? It's like profiteering, really. But it does prove, why you need to get these things ahead of time. It's like every time there's a radiological accident, the price of Geiger counters skyrockets. But if you buy one when nothing's really going on, you can get it, learn how to use it when nothing's happening. Israeli civilian 4A1 masks are very good. The 4A1 is an excellent mask. GP5 would be one of my least recommended masks. Historically, I did a video on it the other day, which might interest a load of people, but historically the GP5 is amazing because most countries in the Cold War did not make civilian masks. Today, they are quite antiquated. The filters that don't come with them are any good. And the most annoying part about the GP5 is it uses a filter that isn't very common in Western countries. If you live in Russia or China or somewhere like that, a GP5 isn't so bad because the standard filters they use there still fit them. But, it'd be kind of like if there was a certain caliber of ammunition, and it would be like buying a gun that was hard to get the ammunition for, so you end up paying a lot more. Could already be here, Ilamau, or it might be, here soon. They were saying on the news this morning they think it's inevitable, it's going to turn up in the UK, it's just going to be a case of hopefully quarantining it and all that sort of stuff. Scott Pro Mask is very good. I wish I could find it. It's because all this shit is a mess behind me. I do have a Scott M98 in this room somewhere, and the M98 is an excellent mask. It's like a different variation of it. It's like the best version of it. But there's the Scott M120, the Pro Mask, and all those. It's probably in that box there, so I can't be asked to get it at the moment. But yeah, the point is the Scott M98 is an excellent mask, or the derivatives. There's no confirmed cases in the UK, is there yet? Like, whether or not we then, like I said, it's possible it could be here. But thank you very much, Soref. It depends which model of 3M. The Polish MP5 is a lot better than a lot of the very basic 3M masks, but 3M's very high-end, expensive masks are better than the MP5. The main issue MP5s have is it seems a lot of them haven't been stored very well, or they're a bit fragile for storage. So a lot of people buy like a bulk of them, and they say they get some MP5s that are in really good condition and excellent masks, and others that, are literally like going yellow and sort of drying up and rotting. No, it's not a NATO mask or the JSP. It uses a proprietary filter, but the price of that with the filters isn't too bad. That's why I've linked it, because it's very similar to what the 3M masks, but everything you would need for Corona is bundled essentially with the mask. And you wouldn't need to replace those filters very often. And you'll probably find you never need it for Corona, but you would end up using it just if you're sanding or, drilling and there's like sawdust or whatever going everywhere. Yeah, well, as I already said, Rolling Rock, if it's a full scuba as in self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, like an aqualung, yes. If it's scuba as in a snorkel tube, no. Am I ready, Jason? I don't know. Because I'm not really a prepper. It would be interesting for me, but like I've said before, the problem is I'm chronically ill. If there was some sort of pandemic where medications you can't get, and that sort of stuff, I'm fucked. Funnily enough, speaking of that, I did ulcerative colitis on Plague Inc. And if ulcerative colitis was a transmissible disease, not an autoimmune disease, you could actually wipe out the Earth's population with it, with all the real symptoms it has. Because once it spreads to everybody, and then it becomes, medicine, like medicines don't deal with it, it literally kills everybody. I'm lucky that I respond to the meds for it. But, autoimmune diseases are shitty things. When you say for an NBC, do you mean for an NBC filter or an NBC mask? If the M65 fits you well, it's a very good mask. If it doesn't fit you, it's a terrible mask. Personally, now I've got one, although I haven't got around to doing the video on it yet, I prefer the Romanian M85 to the M65 because it's a licensed copy. The reason I prefer this, much better strap system and a much better face seal. £16 depends. If it's an in-date NBC filter, yes, it's probably a good deal. If it's depends on the model of filter, of course, because some are better than others. If it's out of date, no. The German one doesn't make a very good face seal, Dave, just because it's a kind of weird rubber. But the main thing I don't like about the German M65 is it has a really bad strap system, as in, they're really kind of slow, tedious straps to adjust. Whereas on a lot of more modern masks, you can literally pull the strap and then undo it with a buckle. Yeah. If you put enough pressure, Rauja, if I'm saying your name right, if you put enough pressure on something like a 3M mask, generally the air will backfire, but they shouldn't backfire easily. But yeah, the main point to get across to people who are coming into the stream, and don't forget to like the stream if you've just come on and all that, is that a lot of the time it comes down to filter, not the mask. Like, for people asking about those types of masks, see the one with the yellow filters, those Chinese ones, they are absolute shit. I bought one. I need to do another video on that. But lots of people were saying, can you get one of those masks and try it? That's like one of the worst masks I've ever seen. The annoying thing, if it has slightly better quality straps on it, and it had better filters, it would actually be good. But the problem is, like, the mask rubber plasticky stuff itself is fine where it makes the face seal, but it's very low quality straps and the filters just don't really filter anything. It will get a lot more serious, Timo. Whether or not it ends up being like some sort of global doomsday pandemic, I doubt that, but it's all people want to talk about at the moment. So I'd say to people, don't panic. This is a good point to learn that, it's worth having a gas mask in a prepping kit. Follow good sanitation, because that's just a good rule in general for not getting lots and lots of horrible things. Even stuff like dysentery and stuff like that, cholera. Use this as an opportunity to learn why it's a good thing to have a mask lying around. Swimming goggles, Possum King, are generally pretty good. If you get a good brand of swimming goggles, they actually go tight to your eyes. So there's going to be no water getting in that way. What country are you? What country are you in, White Wolf? Because in the UK, they're very easy to get. Right, let me show you, Soraf, because I have a kit set up. It should be behind me here, and I've moved it, haven't I? Because I was showing it yesterday. There it is. I've got masks and all that in my car as well. Just because I've got so many masks, it makes sense to keep some in the car and all that. And it also means I've got some for passengers in the car in case they need it. But this is my Avon CT12 kit I assembled. So what I've got in here, I will show you, is if I get the straps open. Oh, is there a case actually in Plymouth now? I haven't looked on the BBC News. I've got that map that auto updates, but again, they have to get the info from other websites and I think confirm it before they put it on that map. So you'll find between a lot of the sites there's discrepancies in the numbers. So inside here we have the Avon CT12, which is my favorite mask. I've got a filter. This filter's technically expired, but it still works as a particle filter, so I just keep it in there with it. I've got a sealed filter, a sealed proper ABEC filter. I've got chemical gloves in here, and I've also got an emergency NBC poncho. That's the weird body condom thing that you throw over yourself and go to ground if there's like nerve agent. So it just gives you quick protection. But yeah, So I have a couple of masks set up like this. And again, I'm not really a prepper. It's just, it makes sense if you've got a load of masks just to have some set up ready to go in case you need it. I've got a drawer full of filters down there. I've actually got loads of filters at the moment because Piotr sent me a load not too long ago, just for like my family and everything, saying, you know, keep them safe. There's a load of filters. And obviously, the thing is with filters, because I'm never actually doing anything where, like, against industrial gases, I never really use them, and I don't open filters for the sake of opening them when I've got other filters. I prefer the CT12 Michael. Most people would prefer the FM12. The main issue is CT12s are really hard to get. The only difference is the CT12 is lighter, basically, because the drinking tube is removed and plugged. But because the FM12 has the drinking tube system, most people would prefer that. A GP5 would work fine with a Polish FP5 filter. Well, saying that, some people get FP5 filters and find they don't fit, so it seems almost random. They're meant to fit, mine fit, but... But the thing is, S10 filters are discontinued because the S10 is an obsolete mask at this point. If you search Avon filter in like Amazon or eBay, you'll find modern Avon filters for sale. The MSA Advantage 410 is my favourite half-face mask at the moment in Rev. So I would just say that. The 3M6000, I've got a Chinese rip-off of it. That's okay. I've got an actual proper 3M 7500 half mask. That's also pretty good, but the MSA Advantage 410 is my favourite just because it takes 40mm filters. Yeah, 248 likes, 264 people watching. It'd be good if we can get the likes above the people watching, as in, you know, people who like, and then even if they go off the stream, the likes stay there. I've not got an American NBC suit. I've got quite a few different NBC suits from around the world, but I think America is the only country that calls them mop suits. I'm not a fan of the M10, but for particulate protection, it would be fine. It's just, it's a bulky cheek filter mask that's like an inferior version of the M17. Let me look up that particular one, Simon. Because like with all the 3M masks, oh, that's just a variant of the 3M6000, isn't it? Yeah, if you put P3 filters on it, it'd be fine. Oh, you've got an SM90, Joel. I am very jealous. It depends what you want it for, but for particulates, get the P3 style filters, like the Scott P3 filters. Or there's one. There should be one behind me somewhere. If I work out which mask I put on, the finished one. Get a particulate filter like that if you wanted it for coronavirus. If you wanted it for military style stuff, get whatever the cheapest in-date sort of ABEX style filters you can find are, so something like that. Because they're pretty much equivalent to military NBC filters. The problem, as I've said before to people, is militaries tend to only surplus NBC filters unless they're stolen when they go out of date, so that makes them useless if you actually want them for something serious. If you want to get in-date filters, you generally have to get industrial ones, unless, you know, they got lost by the army and turned up online. Let me go back to our mod mask that's cheaper but side-loaded. So like a left or right cheek sort of loading filter. There is that very good Chinese one I like. Let me get a link to one. They're probably on AliExpress, actually. Yeah, they are on AliExpress. Give me a second. Oh, I have to log into AliExpress for some reason. But yeah, the FMJ05, also known as the MF11 for exports, is very good, actually, as long as you get one in your size. Let me just find one for you, and I will post it. If I can find one. I swear there were loads earlier, but maybe places are selling out because everybody wants them now. Here we go. Right, let me cut down this massive URL. Obviously, you need to choose the mask. Don't bother getting the mask with the awful refillable filter. But there you go. See that one? That's a very good side-loading mask. That was like the Chinese military mask for quite a while. And it is a good mask. I've ordered another one because I've had one for quite a while, but the one I have is small. So it's actually too small for my face. So although it makes an airtight seal, it's quite uncomfortable. So I've ordered another one in medium now because I would like to have that mask in medium. Those, do you mean the little filters that plug up your nose? They seem pointless to me because, again, you'd have to never open your mouth, and a lot of the way germs can get into the body is through the mouth. The Israeli M15 is very good, yes. I really don't think humanity is ending, but we live in interesting times. I'll supply you with the map again, Longhorn. It's spread to more European countries, especially apparently from people, you know, who hadn't been to Wuhan, so somebody else had spread it to them. There's loads you could choose for that. Nerd Silencer. If you look in the description, there's a link to a couple of masks. But like I say, the big problem at the moment is that China's probably lied about the figures, which means it's probably worse than they're letting on. And annoyingly, it seems like the World Health Organization, a lot of groups like that, are basically taking China on their word for it, even though when SARS happened, China lied. You know, and all that sort of stuff. So I imagine what's going to happen is if China does reveal the real numbers, or the real numbers somehow get out, it's going to look a lot worse than it currently is. Again, I don't think it's going to end the world. It's not that dramatic, but it's the only thing people want to talk about at the moment. And because I'm a channel that talks about gas masks, oh look, I've gone over 300 viewers at the moment. That's good. You know, it makes sense for me to talk about it because these videos get an insane amount of views compared to my normal videos. Right, I've done a video on that Domas or Domas, but a particulate filter lasts absolutely ages because particulate filters only stop working when they eventually clog up with like dust and smoke and stuff like that. So a particulate filter will last you months under normal working conditions. A filter like this, eventually they expire because what they've impregnated the charcoal with goes off, basically. It also depends on how well sealed the filter is and lots of other factors. So it's hard to say how long a filter lasts because that's the problem I've said to people before. What I do like is I can literally show people this filter that's on this mask, though, because it actually, if I can get to unscrew, oh, he's on tight. There you go. What they've done on this filter is they've told you how long it works against certain gases in like certain concentrations. But the point is there's no simple answer to how long does a filter last because it depends, you know, on so many different factors. I think my mum said about that actually, Stuart. So yeah, where I didn't think there was anything in the UK, but that's probably somebody going to scam, isn't it, rather than confirmed? Because they've already been like checking loads of people, haven't they, with kits in quite a lot of countries, and I think they've done almost 100 people in the UK so far that could be suspect. The M40 is all right. The only thing I don't like with the M40 is that, I'll get your comment in a second, Marcus. The only thing I don't like with the M40 is the fact that you need the butyl second skin for it to actually be useful against things like mustard gas, which is a bit silly for a military grade mask. Right, European side loading masks. Let me have a think. There's the British ones. So there's the S6 and S10 and FM12. I'll put these in the chat so you can Google them if you want to. There's those. They're the British ones that are like fairly modern. Bear in mind the S6 is like from the 60s, but France mostly used bottom loading masks, as in like chin loading. So did Germany. Yeah, so for European, most of them actually, the filters load in the front. I'm trying to think with countries like America, obviously the M40 had side loading filters. M9 was side loading. The Finnish M61 is very good, assuming that you get a 60 to 40mm converter for it. The Serbian M2 is also very good. That's basically just an M9 downsized for 40mm. China officially says the virus started when somebody went to like a live meat market with poor sanitation and got close to a bat or a snake or something, but some people reckon that's bullshit. I can't tell you because I don't know. And I don't think anybody really knows. Well, maybe people in like the Chinese government know, but the problem is, if a random person in the comments says they know, they don't. USA gas mask. Do I have any handy in this room? Because otherwise, no. I've got an Avon M50 up there. I can't be asked to get it down. So no. There's a problem with that. I'm only sleeping, missus. You'd have to tell me what mask you want, because the issue is with a lot of these masks is that a lot of the sellers only have like 2 in. So when I link, they get sold, and then that link's not valid anymore. So if there's a particular mask you're interested in, let me know and I can try and find it for you. But the issue is that, like I was saying, a lot of them just go off the charts, when you try and link. Oh, thank you very much. Is that the South African Rand again? Right, let me have a search of it. I don't actually have any Honeywell masks, but thank you very much. Let me have a look. That looks pretty good. The only thing is it uses Honeywell's proprietary filters by the look of it, and that isn't a good thing because proprietary filters can be a bit of a pain in the arse. With P3 filters, that would be absolutely fine. It looks like a very good mask, don't get me wrong. So in terms of quality of the mask, it looks amazing. But personally, if you were going for a mask, I would say go for a 40mm mask. Just simply because you've got so much more available choice of filters. You're not limited to that brand's own version of filters. The easy way of thinking about it is if you buy like a 3M mask or whatever that are in their own kind of thing, Honeywell, whatever, all of them make filters that only fit on their mask because they want to have a monopoly on selling filters for those masks. If you buy the ones they make in 40mm, 40mm is like the standard, bulk standard type of filter the West's been using since, although it didn't completely get adopted then, Germany in World War II, Finland in World War II were using 40mm DIN. By like the 60s, pretty much every Western NATO country was using 40mm NATO. So the point was that, it's better to get the one where you can really easily get the filters for it. All right, Marcus? If I don't say hello to anybody, it's nothing personal. It's just the chat's going to be moving so bloody fast, I won't be able to keep up with it. Yes, there is, Dum Tum. There is this one, which is a Ghost filter that's P3. The name of the filter I can't remember. But there's this type that's P3. And there is also this type, which you'll tell if you look. You can go, oh, that's a casing of a GP5 filter. No, thank you very much, Eric. Yep, the P3 is the important bit, so that will work fine. The bit that... It's nice that you've got the vapor bit, but you don't need the vapor bit. But yeah, the P3 is the important bit, Eric, so that will work. Yeah, but the A2 P3 filters are the bit you need. So yeah, that will be absolutely fine. Sadly, Jet Petri, when I was looking earlier... Dave, thanks. Right, the only thing I can recommend, Dave, because there's not good options for this, is something like an escape hood. Let me get one. These are designed to be disposable, which isn't brilliant, but basically, because these do up at your neck rather than like here, you can wear glasses inside these. They're not particularly comfortable, and I'm not a massive fan of these masks because, as some of you know, and you'll see that the filters are sort of starting to fall apart on these because they're designed to be like one-time use masks. But yeah, you can wear glasses with these because they do up at your neck, not like there. But the problem is with most gas masks is because they do up around here, glasses break the seal because that is forcing the mask open around there. So then the stuff can get in that way. If you want a 40mm half face mask, that's a bit easier. But the issue still is that it seems both the MSA Advantage 410 and the Scott Aviva, because there's barely any 40mm half face masks, all seem to be sold out everywhere, or, you know, massively gone up in price to a price they're not worth. I would, if you want to do that, let me get a link to a mask that is very good, if I can find any for sale, because it's like one of the only good ones I've ever recommended for dust masks. Let me see if there's any for sale. I want to see if I can find a P3 one or the P2.5 rather than just the standard P2. All right, fuck it, I'll just link it to a 3M one. It's not going to be my preference choice, but what I would recommend, if there's any where they haven't sold out yet, is... where are they? Again, I think everywhere's selling out of them at the moment. That's the problem. Okay, I don't know if this brand is any good, but this is what you'd want to do if you want one in public and you're really worried about it. Thank you to everybody that's donating as well. I really appreciate it. And thank you everybody that's clicked like as well, because we're at 330 likes now and 321 people viewing. Bloody hell, that is crazy numbers for my channel. I'm at 105,000 rolling views now. I've got an American World War II, I think it's the M3 diaphragm mask, but I can't remember where I stored it at the moment. It's probably in a cupboard somewhere. Probably, in all honesty, either my Scott M98 when I can find it again, or my Spassiani TR2002. I like the TR2002 because it's a very good panoramic mask. About £30 when I got mine, Danny. But sometimes they turn up cheaper, sometimes they turn up more expensive. That's interesting, James. Thank you very much as well. But yeah, very interesting. Let's hope it comes to nothing. But yeah, they've been isolating a few people, haven't they? And all have come back clear so far. But yeah, they're saying it's pretty much inevitable it will get here, just because, you know, they were so slow to do anything in the first place. And because they were allowing flights out, and there's like a 2-week incubation period potentially where you can still spread it. Yes, Jovan, but the problem is those carbon filters work for vapors, not for particulates. I've got loads and loads and loads of NATO masks. What's my oldest gas mask? Some of my World War II ones. Post your ID, David, and I can invite you to the Discord server. Same for anybody else that's donated. Sorry I need to keep repeating that because obviously I forget where I get caught up in the chat. If you don't get a chance to post your Discord link in the live stream today and you've donated on any live streams, just post it in a regular comment and then I can just go back, double check you did donate and then invite you that way. What would you personally do? I would stockpile as much food and water in the house as possible and just become a hermit for a while. FP5 is ABEC, yeah. Right, David, let me sort that out for you. Hopefully you've put your name on there correctly, because a few of the people tonight, I've had to keep getting them to PM me their names over and over again until they get the name exactly right. But you did yours correct, so well done. I don't know why, but some people really seem to struggle to get things. Right. But Philip, if you want a thing, and Ron, thank you very much. Post your ID, but yeah. Just, yeah, overwhelming amount of donations tonight. That's crazy. I thank you very much, because it is obviously goes towards gas masks and all the shit for the channel, because I buy it from my own money. So Right, let me invite you to the server, Darren. Oh, that's good. Yeah, sometimes you can get really lucky with masks and filters being surplused. Okay, right. So 6958 is yours, Philip. Right, let me copy and paste that in and hope it works. Just because it seems to be really like case sensitive and stuff like that. That's the annoying thing with Discord compared to a load of other things. So hashtag 6958. Right. Ah, good. You got yours exactly right as well. Well done. As soon as you accept my thing, I can invite you to the server. I have lots of NATO masks, Tonya has already said. Any in particular ones of interest? I can't really get them all out for the stream. This room's already enough of a mess, even I've tidied it a load of times recently just because there's too much surplus in here. There you go. It would work a bit frosty. The only problem with like the paper masks is the moisture where you're breathing in and out eventually just makes the mask like a hotbed for germs, and they like kind of disintegrate for that reason. That's why like rubber is a much better material for a mask. I do have an M50. Let me waddle past everything that's on the floor where I've been getting stuff and putting it on the floor and show you the M50. Just because I know the M50 is like the cool kids mask nowadays, isn't it? All right. Thank you, Newt. If I've pronounced your name right, let me invite you as well, and then I'll show people the M50. I wouldn't actually recommend an M50 for the reason that it's not 40mm NATO. The C50 is probably very good. The M50 itself is a very good mask. It's just that it's, you know, not a conventional caliber almost, if you want to call it that. Right, invite to server. There we go, done. But yeah, that's the M50. Did Ron post his Discord ID? Because he donated $10, but... No, I don't think he's posted it yet. Okay. All right, let me go back to the bottom of the chat before I start missing messages. Yeah, but I don't think you donated, did you know? Or it's for people that donated. No, sadly, as I was saying before, it's the same problem with all these masks. The glasses break the seal. You can't wear glasses with regular masks. That's why they have the thing for inserts. Oh, thank you very much, Eric. I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If you want an invite, Eric, post your thing if you've not been invited already. I sometimes forget the people that donate now and again if they're on. But yeah, that's the scary thing. That's why they were saying in some ways it could be worse than SARS. Because the issue is with stuff like, you know, SARS, if a disease has a really short incubation period, it can potentially burn itself out quite easily, where, you know, it infects people too quickly. So quarantining is quite easy. If it has a long incubation period where you may not show symptoms but can still spread it, that's when it's, you know, really hard to kind of track people who might have it, because they might feel absolutely fine and be spreading it. And don't they also reckon there can be people for this who can be carriers, or animals that can be carriers and spread it, but they never show symptoms? I do have an M40, I've just not got it in this room. Thank you very much, Simon, I appreciate that. No, as long as it's the type that fits the 3M things, it doesn't matter. The cheapest 3M filters I've seen are like those round, flat ones, if that makes sense. You know, like, they're like circular. I think you can normally get 2 for like £6 to £8 in the UK. I don't know how much they be if that's Swedish krona. I'm not sure how much they be in Sweden, but you should be able to get them for not a bad price. I think it's Swedish krona, Daniel. I think, without looking it up. I have no idea what all these people are on about. Something about beams. I did post a link in the chat to dust masks, because the one I wanted to recommend I couldn't find in stock anywhere. But if I... Again, these aren't the best things in the world. Actually, no, this is a P1 one. You definitely don't want that. Hang on. Saying that, these aren't bad prices at the moment either. Let me just link these for people in the UK. Well, an NBC filter, assuming it's got the P3 bit at the front, would be fine, yes. I'm not going to go and get the M40 respirator because I can't even remember which room it's stored in at the moment. I've got videos on it on my channel if you want to go have a look. But yeah, I've had this in my lap and people have barely been seeing it. I've not got any Myra masks. A lot of people don't seem to like Myra. I personally don't have an opinion because I don't have any, but from what a lot of people complain about Myra, they say they're sort of meh quality masks, but very overpriced. This is pretty damn light, a lot lighter than the GSR and a lot more compact. The voice diaphragm's pretty good in it. Let me demonstrate it. So yeah, there you go. That's the voice diaphragm. Not sure how well you'll hear it on the microphone, but it's got a fairly decent sized one. They obviously designed this so you could put the VPU on it as well, but yeah. I imagine there's some very good civil masks you can get for like the $100 price range, but the problem is because I'm not in the US, I don't know what different masks are what prices on your market. I only know what's in the UK, and that changes all the time. No, the M50 it's like weird own type of filter. The Avon C50 is the 40mm variant of the same mask. It depends what sort of features you want in one, Bailey, if I'm pronouncing your name right. That's the problem. It's kind of hard to immediately say this is a mask I would recommend full stop for anybody, because there's all the price range things. There's all masks that do different things. Probably Alex. I mean, FM53s are very expensive. All right, thank you, Gamer, and I'll get to Off-Grid's question. Right, Off-Grid. I've got a Tyvek. The problem is with the Tyvek is they don't seal up very well. Basically, because the Tyvek is designed to be disposable, it has like kind of like a sellotape sort of strap that you unpull, and then it like glues itself together. So the issue is with the Tyvek is that you can get the sellotape stuff coming off even before you put it on. Cheers, Dom. So that's an annoying thing of the Tyvek. It also crinkles really loudly when you walk in it. Like, imagine 100 crisp packets being rustled. That gives you some idea of, what it sounds like. What was the Discord name? Speedstar, just so I can invite you. Hang on. Then I'll go back to the chat. I'll stay on a little bit longer because obviously this kind of stream's going crazy at the moment. But but yeah, if you're looking for a cheap NBC sort of suit in the stream, what I would actually recommend is those kind of dust suits. Let me get a link to them because I found they're a lot more practical actually. They're like kind of the ones for people who work with asbestos and stuff like that. And you can get ones that are like semi-waterproof as well. I'll link you if I can find the same type I bought a while ago. Because it's designed to be kind of disposable. But problem is I can't remember what brand my bloody one was now. Right, this isn't the exact one I got, but this is kind of the thing. If I link it, I'd probably recommend something like this over a Tyvek suit, just because where I've had something similar to that, for a kind of disposable thing, it was a bit better in quality. eBay, type in M50 mask and see if anyone's selling them. I've very rarely been to Newcastle. I went to Newcastle when I was quite young, and I mostly went to that massive shopping centre they've got up there. Yeah, Geordie people are alright, but I haven't been to Newcastle in ages. I've not got a Draeger Explore. Draeger's a good company. Let me look up that particular mask. Again, is it the 40mm one, or is it the one that takes proprietary filters? I'll say, so it's a 6300. The 6300. That, right, it looks like there's a variant that's 40mm and a variant that's their proprietary one. If you go for it, get the one that's 40mm. I went to Scotland quite a few years ago, Chris. I went, was it 2015 or I think it's 2014 I went to Scotland. I went on sort of a camping one with my dad where we went up first to Fort William and did Ben Nevis. And then we went sort of along the coast. The best bit was when we did Stornoway, like Harrison Lewis, and just sort of camping there for a few days. And then it was sort of back down, and then Edinburgh was quite interested because I wanted to see the Edinburgh vaults and all that sort of stuff. Did Glam's Castle as well, Glamis, however it's pronounced. 3M respirators are good as long as you get the right filters for them. But yeah, I've been to London a few times. I'd actually not really recommend London compared to a lot of the other places in the UK. You donated, didn't you? So yeah, post your Discord ID, Dom, as you donated, and then I'll add you. He has donated, Ghost Jesus, so he just needs to actually post his ID. The problem is if people donate higher up in the chat, I often forget that they have donated. It's why Patreon's kind of good below for people who want to donate and get a link, because they can just PM me on Patreon and it goes to my email. Any mask that's a full face mask that you can put P3 filters on is good. Problem is, every time somebody donates and I ask them for their ID, random people just keep putting their IDs in the chat thinking they're going to sneak in. Yeah, post your ID. Oh, you did. Sorry, I missed it. That's the problem with the chat moving so fast. You miss messages. Let me add you. What I have to do is I add you to my friends list, and then it's saying it didn't work. Do you have a capital in it somewhere? Or did you put your name slightly wrong? So I put Damio in, but it didn't work. I'm not a fan of the PMK series. Apparently the PMKS is very good, but the PMK1 is pretty dreadful in my opinion. The PMK3 is alright, but it's still not a great mask. Strange, it's not liking it. I don't know why. Let me try it with a capital D and just see if that makes a difference. No. Oh, it worked. Okay, so I just changed the D again and it worked. Right, never mind. I don't understand Discord doing that, but there we go. I can invite you now. I swear sometimes it just randomly goes wrong even if you put your name correctly. No. The Chinese refillable filters are awful. Let me add you, Dave. The only use I found for Chinese refillable filters is using them as like prop filters with something like a GP5. That is the only legit use I can ever think of them. Right. When you accept the thing, Dave, I'll add you on as well. Right, now I need your name to show up in my friends list, because even though I'm on the all section, it's not showing up. Now it is. Right to server. There we go. Right, done. Apparently, chicken wing, it depends completely on which Chinese factory manufactured it. Because the weird thing is apparently Hype was saying certain factories do it in like a normalized 40mm, so it'll take NATO and GOST filters. Some only do it in GOST. Very busy replying to YouTube comments all day, Agent D. But that's nice because it's nice when YouTube actually shares my channel for once, which they've been doing non-stop over the last couple of days because suddenly people are interested in gas masks. I have no idea at the moment how well the virus survives in hot or cold conditions because I don't think they've said anything about that. Yeah, I recommend the 410 over the 420 IMREV because the 410 is the one that takes the 40mm filters, so it's easier to get filters. Right, let me link you to the filters I really like. Right, you can find these cheaper on different sites. I'm just going to literally link you to it so you know which filter I'm on about. On that site's too long to fit into a chat message. Okay, let me find another site that has it in stock. And again, this site has a stupidly long URL for an item. Right, let me see if I can spot some on eBay. What is it with sites having awful URLs for, Right, here we go. Let me post this in the chat. Has the chat stopped moving now, or is it just frozen? Is the chat frozen for anybody else, or is it just me? I can still see the webcam, but the chat's not updating. Brilliant. I might have to call this stream a day then if YouTube's decided to have frozen. But yeah, I can't see the live chat updating at all. I can see myself on the screen, and I can see the number of people watching and liking. That's changing, but I can't see any chat messages moving. So I'm guessing the live chat's broken. And I don't think there's any way of refreshing it without refreshing the page, and that breaks it. Let me just do pop-out chat. Oh, yeah, it's pop-out chat's working. Okay, let me close pop-out chat again and then see if it works again. No, okay. Right, I'll just keep pop-out chat open, that's fine. Most expensive best gas mask. A lot of people say the Avon FM53. I don't have one, so I can't comment, but if you refresh the page, it breaks it if you're streaming because it's in browser streaming on YouTube. Well, the S10's slowly drying up on the surplus market, and at the moment, people are getting desperate to buy gas masks because people didn't do it beforehand, so people are gouging the prices. eBay is the only place I know you can reliably find S10s quite often. Yep, Swift Gaming, I was saying it's because people price gouge. That's why you always need to get this stuff ahead of the time. Because in a worst case scenario, if something really bad happens, you might not even be able to get them posted to you in time, or have stock, so you're screwed. I'm not saying this thing is actually as bad as that. But the problem is as well, is just if you wait till you actually really need something like this, all the sellers know they can massively inflate the prices because you're going to pay it, basically. The weird thing is the FM12 is still being produced. Mate, I don't think you'd need to throw the filter away in all honesty, because all you literally need to do is just decontaminate the mask when you take it off, as in wipe the mask and the filter down with like a surgical wipe kind of thing, like a baby wipe, but like one of the ones that's stronger than baby wipe. Bin the baby wipe and then just don't huff the bottom of the filter, because the stuff isn't going to get through the filter and the virus only lives for about 2 days on surfaces. Which gas mask do you find better out of which masks? Realistically, I wouldn't wear a mask 24/7. You'd only need it if you're out in public, in public transport places, wouldn't you? Have they really found the cure? I'm a bit skeptical about that. Okay, cleaner wipes. That sounds like a good thing then, Michael. Thanks for suggesting that. Quite a few years now, Philip. I'm not actually completely sure, in all honesty, how long the YouTube channel's been on here since 2012, and I collected them before I started the channel. If you mean a full air pumping hazmat suit, Roos, it's going to be pretty expensive, like a few £100 at least for a second-hand one. If you just mean like a second-hand NBC suit, like £20–30. Both YouTube and working in a cleaning type job, fling shop. I also do charity volunteering, and weirdly, with YouTube, I end up doing loads of videos on gas masks. And then in both my volunteering role and my sort of work job at the weekend, sometimes I have to use a respirator, because generally, I don't know why, I just seem to be attracted to chemicals and I can't help it. Depends what sort of filters you want for the GP5, but if you go on eBay, you can find other filters. Yeah, finish M71. Thank you, Nojo. But yeah, finish M71, which is actually getting really hard to find as surplus now, it seems. I don't know if they've all just been bought up because of this coronavirus thing, but people are going, can you link to the M71? I go like, all right, yeah. And then I was like, oh no, there aren't literally any, except somebody selling one for like £100. Yeah, well, I was listening to LBC earlier. They said the earliest there should be a vaccine is 3 months away, and that's if, like, you know, it goes completely no complications on developing a vaccine, which it probably won't. Yeah, I love those old panoramic masks. Cheapest new full-face gas mask, Kobe. You can get these on AliExpress for about $20 or pounds, and they're very good for that price. They're not amazing masks by any standards. You know, they wouldn't be built to withstand things like blister agents, but for what, if you want them for a coronavirus kind of thing, these masks are best, you know, very good for that. I am 26 now. Turning into an old man. I'll be 30 soon, won't I, in a few years? It's weird, Frosty. Both with Patreon and YouTube Super Chats, there are lists of countries you can't donate with. It's weird, because annoyingly, I've had people that have said they really wanted to donate, and they're in countries that they're just discriminated against. But yeah, Mike will be an old man then. Yeah, you have a look on Patreon, Frosty, and see if you can do it that way. Eat Kids is asking me, do I want to play Minecraft? And I don't even have Minecraft installed. And once this stream ends, I'm not going to play anything. I'm going to have a relax and a sit down, because I'll probably have 2 hours worth of comments to catch up with in the regular videos. And then I will probably have a drink and watch a film or something so I can relax. Yeah, PC Dragon Productions, it's going crazy at the moment. I've had loads and loads of donations on this stream from nice people as well. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy to think I've probably had like a day's worth of income from this one stream, compared to, you know, working my regular 8 to 9 hours job on a weekend. But that's just because YouTube's recommending me again. Hunters is obviously a troll because he's been saying stupid shit all stream, but no, this isn't a basement. I wish it was a basement, because then it would have fallout protection, but no. You reckon you won't be on Twitch tonight? All right, Mike. I'll just be replying to comments then and watching a film. Yeah, it is exactly that, Corporal. It started off with people asking me about the coronavirus in the comments about a week ago, and some of my gas mask videos getting more views than normal, but nothing extreme. On Saturday, I did a coronavirus video just because people kept asking me about it. That went crazy. Then every stream recently where I've put coronavirus in the title and we've talked about the coronavirus or whatever, they've gone crazy. The P3 bit in a Polish FP5 filter, even if it's expired, will be fine. Yeah. Same with any modern NBC filter, even if they're expired, the particulate bit at the front is still going to be absolutely fine. Because Britain and America used 60mm originally, Peach, and then went to 40mm. Because Britain and America didn't use 40mm masks before then, if that makes sense. So, like, the Germans used 40mm for ages, but we didn't over here. We went to 40mm later on. The M1, not really. The M2 is very good, the Serbian M2, but not the M1 or MC1. MC1 has a habit of melting for some reason. Also, there's an earthquake as well. Bloody hell, 7.7 is quite high. Has that caused a tsunami as well?
If you mean like the little dust masks that are P3 rated, they're fine as long as they make a good seal to your face. Yep, I'm doing a video tomorrow on decontamination because most people don't seem to know what that is. Yeah, I'm going to look on the news as soon as the stream finishes, but yeah, don't forget to like the stream. Let's see if we can get this over 400 likes. It's like 398 likes. I don't know why I always find it weird asking for likes. Oh, there we go, 400 likes. Just because it sounds like one of those YouTube celebrities, isn't it? Like, click the bell, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe. It just sounds very corny saying all that. I mean, I know I should promote myself more on YouTube by doing that, but I just don't like saying it. It sounds so fake. All right, cool, Frosty. If you do that, just PM me and then I'll sort you out a Discord link whenever I see the email. I need to get up quite early tomorrow, so I'm not going to have a late night tonight, though. Just because I need to wait in for a plumber tomorrow, so that's not going to be fun. 420. Right, the best as in most thorough one, Tempest, is probably one like this, but I can't remember what these ones are even bloody called. All right, thank you, Chicken Wing. Let me add you to Discord, but yeah. Because these are actually 40mm GOS, so unlike the FP5, they're guaranteed to fit a GP5, not, you know, they fit like 90-odd% of the time. Yeah, that's the problem when you get things that aren't actually written in English, is I can never remember what the names of them are. Right, Chicken Wing, once you accept my friend's request, I can add you to the server. There we go. Invite to server. There we go. Now I have to open the pop-out chat again, don't I? All right, Tom. Nice to see you on. If you don't know, I've not got the 13 o'clock t-shirt on, but Tom is from 13 o'clock podcast, which is a really good channel, so check them out if you've not seen 13 o'clock. Let me put a link in the chat to 13 o'clock just before I go off. Yeah, it's just going crazy at the moment, getting all these people watching the videos. Right. There we go. There's a link to 13 o'clock podcast. I need to do it in the pop-out chat, don't I? Well, yeah, it's mostly just constantly answering the same questions on filters, as in, does this filter work? Does this filter not work? Yes and no, yes and no. You know, most of the time it's people asking, will this mask work or not work? And it's always a question of getting the right filter, assuming that the mask's good enough quality, because obviously it's not cherry keys on this one. It's an old IBM Model M, even more retro. Highest I've ever paid in shipping, TechStorm, was probably the US CDV 715. Maybe not the CDV 715. No, I'll tell you what it was. It was when I bought from the US a cesium 137 check source. Because of the EU rules, you can't just simply buy them from a European country and have them shipped, but you can legally buy them from the US. So I had to pay like $100 for the check source, then $50 for the UPS shipping, whatever it was, or FedEx shipping. And then I found out later I had to pay like a $30 tax on it as well after it came. So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And the check source is a tiny little thing as well. You know, it didn't weigh anything, but it's because obviously you have to follow certain nuclear regulations shipping them. They have to do it in all this specialist packaging and everything. Or the gas master from eBay. Yeah, don't forget to wear the merch on the news. I still need to wash my t-shirt. Not t-shirt, the hoodie. I need to find where it is. It's in the laundry somewhere. It's just been stuck there for ages. Because I've been just washing all the standard like work clothing, not the merch clothing. That's a good idea, Michael. The only problem with rough pricing is obviously it fluctuates all the time on the surplus market if you're buying surplus stuff. That's right, Gabe Station. What was that with old GP5 filters, but thank you for the donation. But yeah, it's obviously, yeah, GP5 filters are the asbestos in them. I imagine a lot of people get those and then do more harm than good breathing through just shitty old filters. What was in CDV style stuff? Well, I'll have to ask Bart to draw it when he can be motivated to draw it. What's the best gas mask? Well, that's a very broad question, isn't it? I think the people who spend loads and loads of money on the masks would say the FM53 that like US Special Forces use now, and like British Special Forces, like one of Avon's top end masks. But like I said, I had this one out earlier, but the regular Avon M50, which the US uses now, which is pretty cool because, you know, it was the idea of doing C50 is probably really cool, Ron. Sadly, I don't have one, but you know, it's where they kind of did the cheek filter idea, but made them actual external cheek filters, so they're a lot faster to change. But yeah, I'll go off in a minute just because I've been on an hour and 40 minutes now, and I kind of want a break from trying to keep up with a chat moving this fast. There we go. I was taking it off the wrong way, but yeah, the old I reckon it's going to get quite bad, Tom. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a world-ending thing or anything like that. But I think the problem is probably China's covered it up to begin with, doing a sort of Chernobyl thing, saying the numbers are really low, really low, pretending it's not very bad. And so I reckon there's going to be a lot more infections than they've caught on. Now, it depends on what the fatality rate is. If the fatality rate is pretty low, it's going to obviously, I imagine, be like a flu epidemic where it gets everybody, where the elderly and the very young might die. But it could potentially be really bad if it carries on mutating. And again, I think the big issue of this is that it apparently you can spread it when you don't show symptoms. And you can have like a week plus of not showing symptoms and still be spreading it. So I think, yeah, the big problem is because they covered it up to begin with, it's probably going to be like a SARS again, but SARS burnt itself out. Well, this probably won't. Yeah, I mean, let's look at the current thing. I'll post it in the chat again, but the current numbers on like the interactive map aren't very high, but that's where they suddenly update it, don't they? And it's like another 1,000 infected. But they had somebody speaking on LBC earlier who was saying the numbers are going to be at least 5 times higher on both dead and infected than what the Chinese government lets on. Because, they don't want to appear weak or whatever, so they're trying to make the numbers look good. Because a lot of people are saying that they're potentially doing things as well, where when people die of it, they're saying they died of pneumonia, or they died of flu, or they died of, something else, to make the numbers look lower. Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking, Tom. I think it's going to be exactly like that. Like I said, at the moment, I don't think people should panic, but they should actually look into getting a mask for that sort of thing, just because I just find masks interesting to collect and all that, and the history behind a lot of the different ones. But, it's amazing how many people don't think they might ever need something, and then it goes really bad. And then they're all of a sudden, why are these masks so expensive, or why are they sold out? Yeah, because you didn't get them when you had a chance. I think the most serious thing is going to be when you eventually get the really, what do you call it? Like, what's the name for it? Where you get the bacteria that becomes like antibiotic resistant because we just overuse antibiotics. I think that's going to eventually be like the next Spanish flu that kills off like 30% of the world's population or something. Because if you keep relying on antibiotics and using them when they're not needed, you are going to get sea bugs. Yeah, the interesting thing there was supposedly they had a virus research lab, didn't they, in Wuhan, that they openly talked about years ago, and now they're trying to scrub, info from it, which is interesting. So I'm watching this with a lot of interest. I hope it doesn't get really bad. I mean, like I said, it's doing good for my channel, but I don't kind of like it in the sense that, I don't want to be piggybacking off something horrible, but yeah. So very, very interesting. But yeah, if the people didn't see 13 o'clock, if I've still got their channel open, I'll post the link again to your channel, because I know a lot of people who watch this might enjoy a lot of the 13 o'clock stuff. So I'll just post that again. If I had it bookmarked, there we go. All right. And I have to get the pop-out chat again because the regular chat broke. But the problem is it's already spread to a lot of Western countries, hasn't it? This is the issue. Because of the long incubation period, people have already spread it on planes and things like that. So what you're going to suddenly find is in a week or two, lots of people start coming down with it. Because apparently they've had somebody in Germany now who's come down with it, and they hadn't even traveled to China. So somebody had obviously infected them who had come to Germany from China. So yeah. If it's a P3 filter that fits the GP5, this is the capped in properly, yes. And if your GP5 is in good condition. But bear in mind, GP5s are like 60 odd years old now. And the Soviets invented them. I mean, obviously, if you had one from like right at the end of the Cold War and it was well made, it might be in good enough condition. But GP5s aren't exactly a good mask to recommend for a lot of reasons. It's going to be, like you were saying on the thing the other day, like the stand. Yeah, I'll watch it with great interest. It's very interesting. It's, you know, it's not a nice thing to say, you know, it's interesting, but it is interesting. Look at all this. But anyway, I think I might go off now. Thank you ever so much for all the people that donated tonight. I really appreciate that. It's been crazy at the moment, just how the views have gone like that all of a sudden, because YouTube wants to recommend mask videos to people. And then people, rather than calling you crazy for collecting this stuff, because I'm not, like I said, really even a prepper. It's just I find this stuff interesting to collect. But yeah, have a good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well. Stay safe. I'll be answering questions in the comments, but as said, like regular video comments. But at the moment, I'm getting like 20 to 30 comments an hour, so it's hard to keep up with those. But yeah, good night, everybody. Have a good evening, and I'll be on the stream at some point tomorrow, but not sure the time. Probably the evening again. Right, bye.